If you feel that your kindness is constantly being mistaken for weakness, and that you are always the one working harder to maintain the bond, you have likely been conditioned to believe that being accommodating is the path to love. Most women are taught from a very young age that being agreeable, self-sacrificing, and eternally patient are the ultimate virtues in a relationship. This conditioning convinces you that if you just give a little more, forgive a little faster, and lower your standards a bit further, the man will eventually reciprocate. But the reality is that this dynamic only ensures your own exhaustion and invites further disrespect from someone who stops seeing you as an equal partner. You have likely spent nights wondering why your devotion is met with indifference while you watch others who seem to prioritize themselves receive far more attention and respect. You are caught in a cycle of constant emotional investment, believing that if you just communicate more effectively or show more understanding, things will change for the better. The truth is that your over-availability has become a commodity that is no longer valued because it is always there. When you are always present, always ready, and always willing to overlook things, you lose the essential mystery and the boundary that actually keeps a man intrigued and invested in you. Many women live in fear that if they step back or assert their needs, they will lose the man entirely, so they continue to accept the crumbs. This fear is what keeps you trapped in a loop, where your own needs are perpetually sidelined for the comfort of a man who does not challenge himself to meet your standards. You deserve to be in a situation where your presence is treated as a privilege, not an expectation. Achieving this shift does not require you to play games, but it does require a fundamental change in how you handle the energy you bring to the table every single day. You might be wondering how to break this pattern without causing an unnecessary conflict or appearing aggressive, because you have been told that silence or compliance is the way to keep the peace. However, peace is not the same as respect, and you are currently sacrificing one to maintain the other. If you feel like your efforts are being ignored, it is because you have not yet demonstrated that your time and attention are finite resources. By constantly showing up regardless of how you are treated, you are signaling that your boundaries are flexible and that his behavior does not need to change. Throughout this video, we are going to deconstruct the exact mechanics of why this dynamic persists and how you can reclaim your position. There is a specific strategy behind shifting your behavior that makes a man realize your value is not guaranteed, but rather something he must actively earn. We will explore how to stop being the one who always initiates, and instead become the woman who observes, decides, and acts with total clarity. This is about transforming your approach so that you are no longer a participant in your own devaluation. You will soon understand how to distinguish between a man who is worth your energy and one who is simply taking up space in your life. This process is not about being cold, but about being so secure in your own worth that you are no longer afraid of the outcome. We will dive deep into the psychology of why this shift works later, and I will provide you with a concrete playbook to guide your actions. By the time we finish, you will have a clear understanding of the steps required to regain your sovereignty and demand the respect you deserve. Most women mistakenly believe that they must explain themselves or debate their worth when they are disrespected, but that is a trap that only validates the man's poor behavior. The moment you start justifying your feelings, you are already losing your power. A woman who operates with the mindset we are discussing understands that her actions speak louder than any lecture she could deliver. If you are ready to stop accepting mediocrity and start commanding respect, you need to commit to this shift. We will look at how your daily habits and your own internal peace serve as the foundation for this transformation, ensuring that your happiness is never dependent on someone else's fleeting validation. Your career, your physical vitality, and your connections with friends and family are the pillars of your life, and they must remain unaffected by the ups and downs of any romantic pursuit. When you live from this place of completeness, your interactions change entirely because you are no longer desperate for an outcome. This is the path to becoming a woman who is truly unbothered, one who moves through life with the confidence that she is enough on her own. You will see how this approach changes not only how men treat you, but how you perceive your own life and value. If you are finding this perspective valuable and want to align yourself with a community that prioritizes growth and high standards, make sure to subscribe to the channel so you do not miss any future content as we continue this journey together. Now, I will share the story of a woman who was in a situation much like yours. and who discovered that the only way to save her peace was to completely shift her energy. You will see exactly how she handled a situation where her boundaries were tested, and how her decision to pull back her energy completely flipped the script in her favor. This is not just theory, it is a clear example of how the principles we are discussing look in real, everyday life.
Sofia and the power of black cat energy.
Sofia was a talented writer who found her creative flow in the rhythmic stillness of the local pool, treating her daily swimming practice as a sacred space for mental clarity and physical focus. Her life was firmly defined by the depth of her prose and the strength of her independence. Yet she had allowed Mark, a man whose easy charm masked a profound lack of true depth, to occupy a space in her reality that he did not actually earn. Their relationship had moved along a predictable path for months, with Sofia frequently finding herself altering her own schedule and accommodating his sudden changes in plans just to maintain a superficial sense of harmony. The turning point occurred during an intimate dinner with friends, where Mark decided to position himself as the center of attention by directly belittling Sofia's career. He made a series of sharp, cutting remarks, dismissing her recent publication as a quaint pastime rather than a serious professional pursuit, clearly seeking to elevate his own social status by making her appear less significant to the group. The air in the room instantly shifted into an uncomfortable tension. But Sofia did not lash out, nor did she display a single trace of the hurt that such a public display of disrespect naturally provoked. She maintained a serene, composed exterior, keeping her posture perfectly straight, and listening to his condescending comments with a steady gaze that made him look increasingly small as he continued to speak. Sofia did not offer a defensive explanation or attempt to correct him in front of their guests, as she instantly understood that his behavior was a desperate grab for relevance and control. Instead, she adjusted her physical stance, completely turning her attention to the rest of the table and engaging in a lively conversation that excluded him from her focus, effectively rendering his performance irrelevant. Once the evening concluded, Sofia navigated the departure with a calm, graceful efficiency that left no room for lingering tension or dramatic confrontation in front of their peers. When they walked out to the street, Mark tried to brush her hand as if nothing had happened, causing Sofia to stop cold on the pavement, withdraw her hand, and look directly into his eyes with an icy composure. Without raising her voice or entering a debate, she delivered a single, sharp sentence stating that she was not interested in continuing to date someone who used disrespect to build his own ego. She turned around and went home alone, choosing to treat her evening with the same importance she gave to her solitary writing sessions, and she did not reach out to Mark to discuss her final decision. She understood that a woman who truly respects herself does not need to debate her intrinsic worth or deliver endless lectures to a partner who shows such a blatant disregard for her individual success. Her heart rate remained steady as she locked her door, completely satisfied with her refusal to allow her energy to be consumed by a man who required her to diminish her own shine. 2 days later, when Mark finally sent a casual message attempting to minimize the situation, Sofia did not engage with his text or allow him a chance to negotiate his way back into her life. She knew that her complete lack of emotional investment was the only response that maintained her high standards, as any attempt to explain her actions would have been a waste of her valuable time. She spent her afternoon swimming and focusing on her next manuscript, maintaining her fluid routine with a profound level of peace and mental clarity that he could no longer reach or disrupt. When Mark finally realized that her silence was not a manipulative test, but an irrevocable decision, he attempted to call her, only to find that she had already closed the door on his access entirely. Sofia felt no need to answer or explain why she had departed, as her single, assertive statement at the dinner had already established her boundary with total clarity. She walked into the next chapter of her life without looking back at the empty space he left behind, fully secure in her completeness and surrounded by her supportive friends, her family, and her successful career.
Moving with precision and detachment.
The true power of the black cat begins when you change your internal wiring from an emotional reactor to a sovereign observer of male behavior. When a man intentionally exhibits a clear lack of respect or tests your boundaries, Your immediate conditioned impulse might be to raise your voice, defend your virtue, or desperately try to convince him of your value. However, you must realize that public noise and immediate defensive explanations are the ultimate indicators of powerlessness, because they signal that his careless actions have successfully disrupted your internal peace. By choosing to completely deny him that emotional reaction, you alter the dynamic instantly, shifting the heavy burden of the discomfort back onto his own shoulders. Think of how a black panther operates within her native environment, moving with a calculated, elegant precision that commands absolute respect without ever needing to make an unnecessary sound. She never growls to warn her target or makes a chaotic scene to assert her dominance over the territory, because her steady posture and lethal stillness communicate everything that needs to be known. When her personal space is threatened by an unwanted presence, her immediate response is a sharp, elegant withdrawal, rather than an uncontrolled explosion of energy. You must adopt this exact composure when a man crosses a line, understanding that standing your ground and walking away is the most sophisticated strike you can ever deliver. This specific level of personal restraint requires a high degree of self-possession, because you are choosing to let the situation play out without providing your immediate commentary. Many women find this approach incredibly difficult, because they are socially conditioned to believe that they must always be the ones to repair the cracks in a connection. However, here is a detail that almost nobody notices. When you stop filling the quiet space with your own frantic explanations, you give the man the room to reveal the true depth of his character. If you have ever been in a position where you had to explain basic decency to a grown man, type your experience in the comments below to share how you pulled your energy back. When you offer your presence as a genuine privilege, you must be fully prepared to withdraw it the moment that value is questioned by a man's mediocrity. A woman who embodies black cat energy understands that her time and attention are finite resources meant to be directed towards things that actually expand her life. If he chooses to act in a way that minimizes your status, your internal operating system should trigger an immediate detachment rather than a loud confrontation. This is the exact moment where you reclaim your original stance and dictate the conditions of his future access to your world. And here is where the vast majority of women make a critical mistake. They try to use silence as a temporary game to get a reaction, rather than as a permanent, unshakable boundary. True detachment means you are genuinely unbothered by the ultimate outcome, because your baseline happiness is not tethered to his validation or his ability to understand you. By simply turning away and continuing to focus on the other fluid aspects of your life, you demonstrate that your world does not stop spinning just because he chose to misbehave. You are not trying to punish his ego. You are simply protecting your own light from being dimmed. This precise sharpness is what forces a man to face the chilling reality that your presence is not a permanent guarantee, but something he must actively work to maintain every single day. When you stop playing the role of the predictable, overly accommodating golden retriever, the entire psychological structure of the interaction begins to shift heavily in your favor. You become the individual who controls the depth of the connection, simply by deciding how much access he is allowed to have to your thoughts and your daily routine. This shift changes your position from a demand for his attention to an undeniable desire for your time. Most men are completely baffled by a woman who cannot be provoked because her absolute composure acts as a cold mirror, reflecting their own lack of psychological maturity back onto them. He may initially attempt to regain the upper hand by testing your boundaries even further, hoping to trigger the reactive version of you that he knows he can easily manipulate. However, by staying secure in your own worth, you deny him the precise reaction he is hunting for, effectively starving the negative behavior you no longer allow. You have moved past the need to lecture him or explain your standards. The psychological weight of this silence is far more intimidating than any verbal lecture you could have delivered, because it forces him to deal with the vast void you left behind. While you are busy focusing on your career progression, your personal fitness, and your own wellness, he is left to wonder why he lost his VIP access to your world. He begins to project his own deep insecurities onto the quiet space you created, which is a psychological trap of his own making. You have successfully shifted the discomfort onto him while you continue to move forward. This transition from an emotionally charged state to one of strategic observation is what ultimately secures your sovereignty over your dating life. Accessing your dark feminine energy means you can no longer be afraid to be mean or cold when the situation demands a sharp, definitive boundary. When a man pushes past your standards, you must possess the internal authority to pull back your investment immediately, choosing rational, calculating execution over emotional compliance. This exact refusal to be a predictable source of warmth is what men genuinely fear the most, as they find themselves completely powerless against a woman who can detach instantly. The internal shift you experience when you refuse to debate your worth is the foundation for everything we will discuss in the next phase of this video. You are transitioning from a state of external dependence to one of internal strength, which is the most powerful shift a woman can make in a relationship. Now that we have explored the tactical power of your silence, we need to address the deep mental mechanics behind this dynamic. In the next section, we will break down the psychological architecture of his mind to understand why he is hardwired to chase the energy you just withheld. If you want to fast-track this transformation and access the exact roadmaps for implementing these boundaries in your daily life, you need to read the Black Cat Playbook. This practical guide provides you with direct answers for specific relationship dilemmas, showing you how to maintain your unbothered composure when your standards are being tested. It is designed specifically to help you identify the exact moments a man is attempting to drain your valuable time, ensuring you never waste another second playing the wrong game. You can secure your copy of the manual and reclaim your absolute sovereignty right now by clicking the link available in the description down below.
Rewiring your emotional response.
The psychological impact of remaining in a relationship where disrespect is constantly tolerated causes a slow erosion of a woman's mental well-being. When you choose to internalize his poor behavior, your brain interprets that compliance as a lack of self-worth, triggering a state of chronic anxiety and hypervigilance. You become trapped in a mental loop, constantly analyzing his tone of voice, his text messages, and his shifting moods to predict when the next slight will occur. This continuous state of emotional turbulence drains your cognitive energy, making it nearly impossible to focus on your professional growth or maintain your peace. This psychological dependency is often reinforced by childhood conditioning that correlates a woman's value with her ability to fix or endure a man's flaws. When you adopt the mindset of a golden retriever, your brain releases dopamine every time you receive a crumb of validation after a period of neglect, creating an addictive cycle of high highs and low lows. You start to mistake this toxic emotional roller coaster for genuine passion and depth, further entrenching yourself in a dynamic where your happiness is entirely dependent on his terms. Breaking this cycle requires a deliberate interruption of this feedback loop. When you transition into the sovereign mindset of a black cat, you are initiating a complete neurological restructuring of how you process external validation. By actively refusing to engage in emotional defense mechanisms when disrespected, you train your nervous system to seek safety within your own autonomy rather than his approval. This shift forces your brain to detach from the immediate outcome of the interaction, allowing you to view his actions with absolute rational clarity. Over time, this consistent emotional boundaries building reconstructs your inner strength, ensuring your self-esteem remains completely unshakable. On the other side of this dynamic, the psychology of a man who uses disrespect as a tool is rooted in a deep need for dominance and control. When a man realizes that his poor behavior can destabilize your emotions, his ego receives a massive surge of power because he sees that he dictates your reality. He internalizes the belief that your presence is guaranteed, which completely eliminates his natural drive to pursue you or treat you with respect. In his mind, your constant availability and willingness to overlook his actions reduce your overall value to a permanent certainty. And here is a reality that almost nobody notices about male psychology. A man will instantly lose desire for a woman he can easily manipulate. His subconscious mind is wired to value what is scarce and difficult to attain, meaning that your endless patience actually acts as a repellent. When you continuously lower your standards to keep him comfortable, you are validating his worst behaviors and confirming that there are no real consequences for his disrespect. He will continue to push the boundaries of what he can get away with until there is nothing left of your original standard. If you are still watching this video, congratulations. You are finally gaining the psychological clarity that most women spend their entire lives failing to develop. You are beginning to understand that his sudden shift into desire is not triggered by your endless devotion, but by your absolute willingness to walk away. The moment you implement the strategic silence of a black cat, you shatter his illusion of control, forcing him to confront the immediate reality of your absence. This sudden loss of power throws his psyche into a state of intense confusion. He is forced to sit with the weight of the silence you left behind, which acts as a powerful psychological mirror, reflecting his own inadequacy. Without your typical emotional reactions to validate his ego, he begins to project his deepest insecurities onto the empty space where your energy used to be. His mind quickly transforms your sudden detachment into a puzzle that he feels an overwhelming obsession to solve. He can no longer predict your movements, and this lack of predictability is exactly what reactivates his desire to chase you. This mental shift completely flips the leverage in the relationship, placing the power back into your hands without you ever having to say a single word. You are no longer navigating the connection from a place of fear or scarcity, but from a position of absolute sovereignty over your own life. Your mental health begins to stabilize because you are no longer participating in an unstable dynamic that requires you to shrink your stature. Your focus shifts entirely toward expanding your own world, your career, and your daily vitality. The long-term result of this psychological independence is a profound sense of serenity that external circumstances can no longer disrupt. You learn to view a man's behavior not as a reflection of your intrinsic worth, but as an indicator of his capacity to match your high standards. When you operate from this baseline of completeness, you become entirely immune to the emotional manipulation tactics that keep other women trapped for years. You are no longer a passive participant in his game. You are the architect of your own peace. Maintaining this level of sovereignty requires you to be ruthlessly protective of your mental landscape as you move forward. You must learn to look at every interaction through a strictly analytical lens, evaluating whether a man's presence genuinely elevates your life or merely drains your mental peace. In the next part of this video, we are going to dive deep into a framework that will allow you to instantly categorize his behavior. We will analyze how to distinguish between a man who serves as a catalyst for your growth and one who is a drain on your crown.
Decoding the facilitator and the drainer.
To successfully navigate the landscape of high-standard relationships, you must implement a rigorous screening mechanism that instantly separates men into two distinct categories based on how they react to your emotional autonomy. In the realm of black cat energy, every man you encounter will reveal himself as either a facilitator or a drainer, depending on his capacity to handle a woman who prioritizes her own peace. This classification has nothing to do with temporary circumstances, his financial status, or his superficial charm, but is entirely defined by whether his presence expands your world or slowly erodes the foundation of your success. A facilitator is a man whose psychological maturity allows him to respect your boundaries, while a drainer is driven by a subconscious need to diminish your stature to feed his own unstable ego. Understanding this fundamental distinction prevents you from wasting years attempting to fix someone who is inherently incapable of meeting your standards. When you operate as an emotional reactor, you consistently project your own capacity for empathy and growth onto men who merely view your patience as a green light to continue their poor behavior. The filter we are establishing is designed to strip away his potential and force you to evaluate his raw actions in real time. A woman who knows her worth does not negotiate with individuals who bring chaos into her space, choosing instead to apply this conceptual framework to protect her focus. By treating his responses to your standards as diagnostic data, you gain immediate clarity on whether he belongs in your environment or needs to be shown the door. This filtering process is entirely dependent on your willingness to hold a firm, unshakable stance when your boundaries are actively tested. A man who functions as a facilitator will naturally align with your standards because he possesses the internal security to appreciate a partner who is whole on her own. Conversely, a drainer will interpret your independence as a direct threat to his authority, attempting to manipulate your perception to force you back into a state of compliance. And one thing that women rarely ever notice is that the exact same act of pulling back your energy will inspire a facilitator to elevate his behavior, while it will cause a drainer to expose his latent resentment and malice. You must observe these distinct behavioral trajectories with total rational detachment. When you communicate your standards with sharp, uncompromised clarity, a facilitator feels a profound sense of respect and motivation to match your level of maturity. He is not intimidated by your career focus, personal goals, or the solid relationships you maintain with your family and close friends, because he does not rely on your dependency to feel like a man. His actions are consistently directed toward making your life easier, showing up with the consistency and honesty required to maintain his access to your world. He respects your limited time and understands that your presence is a premium privilege that must be continuously earned through mutual effort. As a result, interacting with him leaves you feeling expanded, secure, and entirely supported in your individual pursuits. The long-term consequence of allowing a facilitator into your orbit is the creation of an environment where your potential can truly flourish without much friction. Because he is secure in his own worth, he acts as a genuine catalyst for your growth, encouraging you to pursue your goals while actively contributing to your emotional stability. He matches your vulnerability with absolute loyalty, ensuring that your connection is built on a foundation of reciprocal respect rather than toxic power struggles. You do not have to shrink your stature or hide your achievements to keep his ego safe from bruising. This healthy dynamic allows you to maintain your deep inner peace, ensuring your energy remains fully available for your own life. On the complete opposite end of the spectrum, a drainer experiences an immediate surge of anxiety and irritation when he realizes he cannot manipulate your emotional state. Because his sense of power is entirely dependent on keeping you in a predictable, accommodating position, your sudden detachment makes him feel utterly powerless and exposed. He will often respond to your boundaries by attempting to guilt you into lowering your standards, framing your self-prioritization as an act of selfishness or coldness. He deliberately uses gaslighting, micro-betrayals, and false promises to chip away at your confidence, desperately trying to trigger a chaotic reaction that validates his control over your life. If you choose to remain in proximity to a drainer, the psychological toll on your mental health and self-esteem will be absolute. His presence acts as a constant tax on your cognitive focus, forcing you to waste your valuable time analyzing his mixed signals and defending your boundaries against non-stop incursions. He will continuously demand your emotional labor without ever offering any real reciprocity, effectively turning you into a placeholder for his own unresolved issues. The final result of this dynamic is the systematic destruction of your inner world, leaving you depleted, anxious, and completely disconnected from the things that once brought you happiness and fulfillment. A man who functions as a drainer will never change his core nature simply because you choose to give him more chances or explain your pain for the 100th time. His psychological structure is hardwired to consume your energy without ever facilitating your life, meaning that every compromise you make only accelerates your own devaluation. He wants a partner who acts like an overly agreeable golden retriever, a woman who is always available to absorb his bad moods while expecting absolutely nothing in return. The moment you realize his inability to respect your standards is an unalterable truth, you must find the courage to implement the ultimate consequence of his behavior. The power of the black cat is manifested in her complete refusal to debate these results, or offer second chances to an individual who is proven to be a drain on her crown. When the data shows that a man is a drainer, you do not engage in a long-winded discussion about why you are leaving, nor do you waste your breath explaining his failures to him. You simply gather your energy, step back with total calculation, and close the door on his access without a single shred of guilt. This clean separation is not an act of anger, but a rational executive decision made by a woman who values her time too much to spend it on mediocrity. By applying this filter with ruthless precision, you successfully cleanse your environment of toxic influences before they can cause lasting damage to your sovereignty. You stop guessing where you stand with a man and start letting his reactions to your boundaries dictate his relevance to your future. Now that you understand how to separate the facilitator from the drainer through the application of black cat energy, it is time to look at the concrete steps required to execute this strategy in your everyday interactions. In the next part, we will break down the exact operational playbook you need to follow to turn his disrespect into absolute desire or walk away with your crown completely intact.
The Playbook for Dark Feminine Mindset.
The first step in executing this playbook requires an immediate end to all over-explanation and emotional debates when a man exhibits a lack of respect. You must train yourself to deliver your boundaries using a single sharp sentence, communicating your standard with total clarity and absolute zero room for compromise. The moment you start justifying your feelings or trying to convince him why his behavior was wrong, you are actively giving away your authority. A black cat states her position once and immediately removes her attention from the conversation, allowing the weight of her sudden emotional absence to do the heavy lifting. The second step is the systematic reduction of your availability, converting your presence into a premium resource that must be consistently earned. You must actively resist the urge to drop your current plans, your career tasks, or your social activities just to accommodate his last-minute requests or late-night messages. When he attempts to access your time without scheduling it properly in advance, your response should be a neutral, polite refusal that provides absolutely no alternative options. By making your schedule completely separate from his convenience, you force him to realize that your world does not revolve around his terms. The third step focuses on creating a complete visual and emotional mystery around your daily routine, cutting off the continuous flow of status updates. You must stop oversharing every detail of your day, your family gatherings, or your professional projects through continuous messaging or social media posts. Let him sit with the absolute quietness of your absence, forcing his mind to actively wonder what you are doing and who you are spending your valuable energy with. This strategic distance is essential to break his sense of certainty, shaking his confidence and shifting his perspective back into pursuit. The fourth step requires you to implement a strict law of immediate reciprocity regarding your emotional investment and acts of service. You must never deliver more than you receive, meaning that if a man stops prioritizing your needs or pulls back his attention, you instantly match his energy with an identical withdrawal. Women who try to fix a dying connection by overgiving only accelerate their own devaluation. You must have the courage to match his silence with your own absolute indifference, remaining entirely comfortable with whatever outcome his actions create. The fifth step demands that you cultivate a profound level of internal completeness that remains completely independent of a man's fluctuating attention. You must actively pour your focus into the primary pillars of your life, expanding your career goals, pursuing your personal hobbies, and maintaining deep, healthy connections with your friends and family. Your daily happiness must be an established fact that he cannot alter, ensuring that your mental peace is never tied to whether he decides to call or pull away. When you live from this place of absolute sovereignty, you naturally project a magnetic confidence that commands respect. The sixth step is the execution of the ultimate consequence, which means possessing the absolute willingness to completely detach and walk away. If you have communicated your standards clearly and he chooses to repeat the disrespectful behavior, you must cut his access to your world entirely and permanently without delivering another single word of warning. A true black cat never offers endless second chances or bargains for basic decency. She understands that her energy is too valuable to be wasted on mediocrity, and she walks away without ever looking back a single time. By following these 6 operational steps into your daily interactions, you successfully transition from a state of anxious attachment to a position of absolute emotional sovereignty. You are no longer playing passive roles or waiting for a man to determine your value, because your own actions have already defined your terms with undeniable sharpness. This practical roadmap ensures that you maintain your crown intact, regardless of the volatility of external dynamics. Now that you possess the tactical playbook to inspire your interactions, we must explore the final results of this profound lifestyle shift.
Your undeniable transformation.
The decision to transition into a black cat fundamentally alters the landscape of your entire life, producing results that extend far beyond the boundaries of your romantic interactions. When you choose to step out of the people-pleasing patterns that society conditioned you to accept, you naturally experience a profound restoration of your cognitive focus and emotional clarity. You begin to realize that the raw energy you once wasted on decoding inconsistent male behavior is now entirely yours to invest in your own path. This complete transformation leaves you with an unshakable sense of inner peace, ensuring that you move through the world with the quiet confidence of a woman who answers only to her own high standards. Your daily existence becomes a demonstration of genuine fulfillment because your happiness is an independent structure that no longer requires external validation to maintain its form. You experience a renewed vitality in your career projects, a clean efficiency in your fitness routines, and an absolute serenity during your private moments of relaxation. The connections you choose to cultivate with your friends and family flourish because you are no longer entering those spaces from a place of emotional depletion or chronic anxiety. You are happy alone, but completely connected to a rich, fluid reality, moving forward with a calm precision that completely eliminates the necessity for external approval. To solidify this transformation within yourself and share your progress with a powerful collective of like-minded individuals, leave a comment down below describing a personal experience where you chose to pull your energy back instead of entering an argument. Sharing your story not only validates your own growth, but also serves as an invaluable source of inspiration for other women who are currently fighting to reclaim their sovereignty. By documenting the exact moment you decided to prioritize your peace over a man's ego, you actively contribute to the foundation of the high-standard environment we are building together. If you are fully committed to breaking these toxic loops permanently and want to ensure you never miss the advanced strategic frameworks we share on this channel, make sure to subscribe right now. By joining this space, you are choosing to align your daily habits with absolute self-respect, surrounding yourself with content that consistently demands your expansion. We are building a selective community of women who refuse to tolerate mediocrity, and your presence here ensures that you remain sharp, detached, and fully capable of protecting your crown. You are now equipped with the tools required to turn disrespect into absolute desire, or walk away without a single trace of guilt. Instead of closing this page, I believe you would enjoy watching the video that I've made about how implementing sharp boundaries is mandatory in relationships with men. Click on the card appearing on your screen right now if you want to watch it. Continue to focus on your personal growth, protect your limited capacity for joy with absolute coldness when necessary, and move forward with the unwavering certainty that you are completely whole on your own.
It is so amazing to have you here with me. I really hope you like this content, and I'll see you in the next one.